was that? Never mind that. What was that?
Hi!
Who are you?
Barf!
Not in here, mister. This is a Mercedes.
Nah, that's my name. Barf!
Barf? What are you?
And here we go. BARFF Fantasy Football Podcast, Season 3, Episode 4. Heading into a discussion of Week 3 action. We're here live in the studio, joined once again by one of our currently local owners who we're trying to get the most of while he's still local. Tyler's in the studio. Tyler, it's great to see you tonight.
Glad to be back once again.
All right, and as always, co-host of the show, the great Walt Mikulski.
Hey, Brad.
All right, let's jump right in. Week 3 action. Walt, where do you want to start? This was a week. I'll just preface the whole thing with not a lot of great games. This might not take long.
No, that's what I mean. It really was, I guess, one of the more boring weekends in BARFF football. Pretty much nothing really needed to be decided on Monday night, which is rather rare for this league. Usually it always comes down to the, Monday night, but yeah, not this time around. So let's see, where should we go? How about why not talk about you and your win? Let's start off
let's start
on a high note.
Let's talk about a win. I mean, it's we're in the studio with worst team ever, so it's a little raw right now, but I got to say I'm pretty happy to just not be 0-3.
Yes.
It's pretty good. It was a game that went a little back and forth early on. Tyler, how did you think the game was playing out over the course of Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, Lamar Jackson once again coming through huge for you, with the 41 points against New England there. I mean, once again, he kind of led your team, and I mean, that was the difference maker right there. He
did lead the team. Let me get on to the right week as I look back on the glorious game. You know what? Putting up 129, I put up fewer points than last week, but I get the win. 129 compared to 132 last week. Lamar Jackson, 41 points. Cincinnati surprises me with 16, and I don't know. I guess I'll have to call it an off week with Cooper Kupp getting 16. It made me a little bit worried because they're sitting in my starting lineup despite knowing better.
Yep.
Was one DJ Moore.
Yep.
And I can tell you'll have to look far and wide for DJ Moore in my lineup. He was my fourth round draft pick. I had Cam Akers followed by DJ Moore, third and fourth round.
Tough couple rounds there for you, huh?
Yeah, it's not a great start, and this is probably why I'm at 1-2.
But not 0-3?
Not 0-3. Yeah.
And Cam Akers might be on the redemption tour, maybe starting. I saw life.
There was a little bit of life over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That disappearance in the first week may not play out, and we'll see. We're one sprained ankle for Darrell Henderson away from getting maybe 20 carries a week, but I'll take the win. If you look at the standings, we'll talk about next week coming up, but it sure seems like a lot of teams had some difficulty, and half the league now sits at 1-2.
Yeah, we were looking at that earlier, and it's a 1-2 league. So I'm feeling good where I'm at because I'm right there.
It is a 1-2 league. So Tyler, you're now standings wise, and I have to go back. I'm messing this up a little bit.
Third overall.
Yeah, third overall. I mean, despite the loss, that's got to feel good coming out of this.
That was a win last week. I think you're thinking of Huey Lewis you beat.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah,
I put a beat down on Sody Pantlin, which felt good. We'll
get
there.
We're going to get there, and I'm looking forward to Sox fan, whatever.
Oh, that's
he
right.
is to comment.
That's right, because I was pointing you in
Yes,
the other league.
correct.
Yes, that's all right. Get them mixed up. No big deal.
It was the technical difficulties
That's
earlier
right.
that had me a little thrown off. So yeah, I played Huey. I didn't want it's two 0-2 teams, and this now I get it. And I don't want to see anyone 0-3, but mostly myself.
Yeah, I mean, someone had to be 0-3.
A little self-preservation.
Exactly.
Nothing's wrong with that.
Yes,
that's right.
Yes. Yeah, so totally screwing up that 129 to 102, taking out Huey Lewis in the news. I mean, we can talk about this till we're blue in the face, but 0-3 start is troublesome for Huey Lewis.
Yeah, I look at it and I think trouble. There's trouble there. I mean, Alvin Kamara is doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Mike Williams, I mean, he's been okay, but I mean, Keenan Allen's out of the lineup. You would think he's going to do way better than 8 points.
Right.
So, I know, we had our little viewing party and Connor left. I don't know. He said he had soccer. I don't know if he left in disgust. Because when he saw Kamara and Williams, I don't know. He might have just had enough, and I can't say I blame him.
We got joining us on the chat. We've got one Anthony Mancuso cheering on the pod with LFG. And then Sox fan 7687 is weighing in with boo, worst team ever, hashtag Pantloads. And
Wow.
I started that by talking about your team too early. So that's unwarranted. That's unwarranted. That's my fault. But yeah, so I'm happy to be at 1 and 2. We'll talk about the standings later on, and we'll talk a little more about Huey Lewis in the news as we talk about next week's games. Walt, where do you want to go now?
Well, let's go to that beatdown. I there's a lot of people in the league that enjoy it, so why not talk about it?
I think the majority do, honestly.
That's absolutely.
If there's one team people like to see lose, I think S3Ep4 Pantloads is up at the top.
Well, I think that puffed out chest probably just caved in a little now that he's 1 and 2 with the rest of us. So, again, the Pantloads. The Kyler Murray roller coaster, I think, is probably what's, Murray went off last week, he wins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Murray played like he did week 1, he loses. And then now he's got to contend with, one thing I always love is when you get all the hype, and even I got into it. Allen Robinson, oh man, he looks great. It's going to be a good year for Allen Robinson. I mean, Matt Stafford won't even look Allen Robinson's way.
Allen Robinson looks good if you're comparing him to Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
But if you're
absolutely.
not, yeah.
Or his blocking abilities, too. That's pretty decent.
Well, we could talk about the
blocks.
rule change that potentially in for next
Good
year.
blocks.
Yeah,
love it.
guy's a great run blocker. Absolutely. So we already have how many championships you
yeah,
have.
it's all right.
Worst team
You know
ever.
what? Whatever.
I love it.
But I think now the Pantloads too. Dalvin Cook's got that nagging, that
Potential
shoulder,
injury there.
perpetual
Yeah.
shoulder.
Yeah, it looks good for Denver Soaring Eagles if
Yeah.
Madison's going to be plugged into that offense.
I mean, Zeke Elliott. I think he'll be a touchdown dependent kind of guy going forward.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think there could be some trouble in Pantloads country.
I think that Pantloads loves the Damian Harris versus Ramondre Stevenson
Yeah,
situation.
yeah.
That was pretty entertaining. This
That was,
weekend, not gonna lie.
yeah.
On the other side of the ball, Ty, 130 points. That's quite a performance. A 40-point
week.
victory, top to bottom. Strong performances. Saquon Barkley, 22 points. Is Saquon your ride or die going forward?
I might have to swap him in the lineup to put him just in front of Taylor, just for to make the statement there. I mean, Barkley right now the number 1 overall rated fantasy running back.
Yeah,
he took over from Chubb in according to BARFF scoring. So
Right.
yeah,
Right. I haven't been looking at who did what, to be honest with you, this week. But is there any word on Taylor? Is he dinged up or what's happening?
Yes. So we were talking, and that it seems like he's got some toe issue.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
yeah,
a little bit of concern there depending on
Yeah.
what it is. But hey, that's why everyone made fun of me. We drafted Nyheim Hines to have that handcuff if needed.
Does Nyheim Hines make their way into the WT
You
lineup?
bet he will be in that starting lineup.
I love
I
it.
am here to prove a point to everybody in the league that I know what I'm doing.
Right.
He's going to be in the lineup.
Hey,
All
I
right.
mean, he was on my team like 5 times last year at different points.
Different points,
And I
yeah.
end up winning. So, hey, granted, he didn't make the final roster to get his ring, but hey, he was still there.
I love it. So Sodi has some things that he gets yet another good performance from Travis Kelce. He's not starting the Chargers D ever again. And
Yeah, that was
Nice stream pick, buddy. Nice job.
against Jackson.
Doing your homework.
Yeah, against Jacksonville, though,
Yeah.
to be -7.
Yeah,
Who
it's
saw
tough.
that coming?
You don't see
That
that
was
coming.
rough. Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll cut him some slack on that one.
No. It was just
Not-
a terrible
not at
pick. No slack for him.
So one question for worst team ever. Now you've seen, Cooper Clutch, as he's been dubbed in Dallas.
QB controversy.
Yeah, do you start putting CeeDee Lamb into the lineup?
He is in the lineup as of this week. Michael Thomas, he actually left the Saints game
I saw
a little
that,
bit
yeah.
early.
Oh, he
So
did,
we were
yeah.
wondering why his production kind of shut
Oh,
off. So
okay.
he's battling a little bit of an injury. So yeah, CeeDee Lamb in this week. Michael Thomas out.
Yeah, good for Chris Olave on the Sodi Pantloads side of the ball though. His friend Sox fan 7687 weighs in with Worst team ever can talk all he wants, but we all heard him cry out mercy when Pantloads had a 51% win percentage. That was a thing.
It's fine.
That's
It
just
worked
being,
out in the
it's
end.
being humble. We'll
Yeah,
call
but
that being humble.
then the Chargers D got -7 points, and it kind of changed the tide there.
It's
So.
hard. When anyone gets -7 anything, that's when you're not having a good week.
And what's Ant saying? Worst team ever equals worst team ever. Very
These two, I don't know what
Very
they're doing with
astute
each other over there in
observation,
Chucktown. Sheesh.
Well, where are we going next?
All right, what should we go to? We might as well get my game out of the way.
Yeah, and the team that tied with worst team ever for the high score this week with 130 points was your opponent, Boston Beans, putting up 130 to 104. In a week of off weeks, you were one of them. Tell us about your game.
So, if you look at my score, I probably would have beat a few other teams. I looked at it and really didn't have a horrendous week, with one exception.
One?
Well, Robbie Anderson, I'll throw, has 2 points. I'll expect that.
Yeah.
But do I expect 4 points out of Chester?
What is happening?
Again.
That is unacceptable.
Yeah.
I mean, he's ruining my strategy single-handedly.
You cannot. You cannot. I mean, 3 weeks ago we watched you crack a beverage, and the no RB strategy was in its glory. The golden toilet seat was shining bright, and now. If you're going to go no RB strategy, Justin Jefferson and Robbie Anderson cannot combine for 6 points in your lineup. Can't happen.
I mean, so Anderson's in there because, I don't know what Justin Fields is doing to Daryl Mooney other than ruining his career.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Godwin was the guy that should be in there, and he lasted all of one half of the first game. So, but I'm feeling better. Gallup's coming back. I think, Robbie Anderson's not long for this world on Team Born to Run. So if people are interested, he'll probably be available for a waiver wire pickup. But, Stevenson, Penny, my running backs were the least of my problems last week, honestly. So, I can't win if Jefferson, he's got to get me 15, 20 every week.
I mean, Jamar Chase, though, too. He only had 12 points. You had 18 out of your 3 receivers. That can't happen in a 0 RB strategy.
Maybe I got to stop looking at ratings and see my 2 tier 1s are like about tier 10 right now. So, yeah. But, again, everything in fantasy football is overreact.
Yes.
This is week 3.
Yeah, it's early.
I'm not going to get too worked up about it yet. So we'll see how it goes. For me personally, I'm more concerned about my quarterback situation because
Matt Stafford has not looked good.
he has not looked good at all.
No.
And then if you look who my backup is, that's right, I don't have a backup.
Yeah.
So of all the things most concerning to me is my quarterback situation. I really didn't think Stafford would be. I didn't think he'd be great, but I didn't think it'd be this bad.
Yeah. He's holding that whole team back. I think McVay is getting cute, but that's just how I look at it. On the other side of the ball, Boston Beans.
Juggernaut.
Boston Beans at 3-0 with the most points scored in the league by far, and this is on a down week for the league. They yet again rise up with the highest score. Tyler, look at from top to bottom in this lineup. I don't see weakness. What do you think about this team moving forward week to week?
I mean, I see weaknesses all over the place, actually, with this team. I think they're a bit overrated now at 3-0. They've had a lot of luck going their way. You got 2 Raiders players in your starting lineup. That offense can't seem to click. Devontae Adams, completely touchdown dependent. Jalen Hurts, he's playing with the Eagles. He's just doing it all himself out there. And, Najee Harris, he's one injury away from being out the rest of the season. So, I think the Beans are kind of on their high horse right now. They're going to see a downfall here shortly.
Walt, I detect bias.
I think there's a slight bias. I look at the Beans team and other, mental illness aside from the owner, I think they're pretty strong from top to bottom. Like you said, look at those running backs. Very solid. Waddle, Adams.
There's 2 tier 1 wide receivers
that's what I mean.
right there.
And right now, and I was a big fan of Hurts, so to me this ain't a surprise, but he hit on it. Hurts looks awesome.
Yeah, well,
so
after the draft, I was kicking myself, and it's unjustified at this point, but, for me, it was between Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts, and I didn't know what to do. Jalen Hurts certainly is of those two an excellent selection. It's just Lamar's had that edge right now.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you think it's a little ridiculous, though? This guy claims to be the biggest Tua guy around, and he's not in the starting lineup, though. I mean, that just has fraud written all over it, if you ask me. I mean, this guy's got 3 Tua jerseys. He just bought a new one. He was basically crying when he went out with the not concussion this week, and he's not even in the starting lineup. I just no honor from the Beans going on here. That's all I got to say on that.
I think the NFL is doing some exams of Tua's brain right now.
Well, it was his. I think it was his shoulder and ankle was his injury today on the practice report.
Oh,
so
did he?
yeah,
Yeah,
he had some. He had an injury designation, but it wasn't head.
Yeah, you'll know that you'll see him with a head designation
No.
for a long. They'll avoid that at all
Hey,
costs.
the Beans is selling his soul for the toilet seat. So be it. I mean, I think there could be worse things than that. But
As someone that would do anything for the toilet seat
Yeah,
to come
yeah,
home,
so-
I admire that. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, do what you can to win, and he's doing it right now, sitting pretty in first place.
oh, I see. Gallup been coming back the past 3 years. That's actually
It's probably the smartest
a
thing
pretty
he said
astute.
in
Yeah,
quite a
for-
while.
yeah. So we'll give him credit on that one. I can't say I can argue with that.
Let's look at another strong performance. We looked at the top 2 scorers of the week, Boston Beans and worst team ever, putting up 130. Let's go down to this 120. We'll skip over mine because I couldn't even describe what game I had played. But 122 points from Springfield Rifle, taking out really strong looking team and no lineup needed coming into this game to pick up that first win. I just saw players that had been expected in weeks past for the Rifle just playing the way that they were supposed to. Ty, what do you think?
I mean, it was kind of sad seeing Christian over, and he just kind of curled up on the couch like a puppy and just admitted defeat.
Fetal
I guess
position.
fetal position is probably
Fetal
a better way to
position.
put that. That's a really good point. I mean, hey, it was a strong week from the Rifle.
Yeah.
Really all around. I mean, 30 out of Josh Allen, and Derrick Henry finally coming through. With
becomes
a great
Derrick Henry.
performance.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
And I think Christian just kind of accepted, like, yep, this week's not going
he
how
knew.
it needs to. He just
knew.
knew from the beginning.
There wasn't a lot of fight in that dog.
There was
I can
not.
tell you
There
on
was
Sunday
not.
night.
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes. That the whole situation. Like, let's see. Let me take a quick peek at where he's rated.
Yeah.
In ESPN
4.
position-wise, 4, which actually surprises me. I would have said that he would have been.
Well, he had
somewhere
the
in-
39-point
Yeah,
week 1. I think
that's
that
right.
was kind of the.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a concern for me. But he had that off week from Tyreek Hill, off week from Gabriel Davis. Clearly, Isaiah McKenzie was the only person that Josh Allen was going to look at on Sunday. So, there's just an off week. In a week of off weeks, this was probably the biggest clunker that people put up, and I don't expect it moving forward.
And the injury, too, to David Montgomery.
Yeah.
I wonder how long that's going to... So I think we could be seeing some waiver claims coming in from no lineup needed for the backup there. but,
Herbert.
yeah.
Yeah, he's got
James Robinson.
He's got James
He does.
Robinson, Marquise Brown. I mean, Murray was locked into him. I heard he had 17 targets, Marquise Brown, in that game. That's outrageous.
That's pretty crazy.
That is. So, hey, I think if Allen plays or he's got Robinson, I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's need the
Montgomery
panic
ain't-
going on.
Yeah, Montgomery ain't going to really, in my opinion, hurt him. But there was, I spent a lot of time cleaning up after the party, wiping all the tears from Christian and Connor. It was just, there was a lot of crying at the house on Sunday. But
I will say the big trend, we talk about all of these low scores. A big trend this week was big bench points, and these two teams epitomized that. No lineup left 84 points on their bench, and Springfield Rifle, in a winning performance, had 90 points on the bench. The only team, I think, that really had that not great week from their bench, Walt, was your team. Your team only had like 15, 16 points off the bench. But this was a week of, who do you start? And we all pretty much guessed wrong with very few exceptions. And so let's talk about Whopper Moppers and the Denver Soaring Eagles. Whopper Moppers goes to 3-0.
I know.
Are you surprised by that at all?
Not really. I think, again, a pretty solid team, top to bottom. I mean, it hurt when I see David Carr get 23 when I cut him literally the week before. But I think he has similar problems as me. I think the quarterback could be an issue. But that aside, you got McCaffrey. He's got good running backs. Connor can plug in Connor, or you got Patterson.
Right.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, A.J. Brown, good receivers. Mike Evans will be back. So I feel the only problem with the, Whopper Moppers is really bench. And, if he suffers a couple injuries,
Well,
I'm
I
still
mean,
there.
well, we say that, though, and he's lost Dak. He's lost Dalton Schultz and Mike Evans for a week. So he's dealt with a little bit of adversity, and he's still sitting at 3-0.
True. But losing Mike Evans for a week versus, say, the season. So I don't disagree, but I think it's a little thin now. But hey, again, I mean, nobody gets hurt, whatever. He's a solid team. That's the bottom line. His team is really solid.
Yeah. McCaffrey doing the job, just not blowing up the way that you would, for draft position. But that's probably to come. So good things moving.
He showed up on the injury report, though.
Did he?
Yep.
Oh boy.
Thigh.
Oh, that doesn't bode well for this week.
So yeah, I think he's a guy that they're gonna have to. That's what I think could be the problem. I think they're gonna be managing his carries, and like you said, will we see that Christian McCaffrey that blows up and
Right.
maybe not?
You want 25, 26
Right,
points out of that
exactly.
guy, not 15, 16.
Yeah,
so.
he could be the Justin Jefferson of running backs when it's all said and done. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one.
On the other side of the ball, Denver Soaring Eagles gets betrayed by their running backs, no
Yep.
more so than Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon looked terrible in that game. He puts up a 6-point stinker for fantasy, coupled with DeAndre Swift. Who was DeAndre Swift also injured a little bit in that
He
game?
was, and
He
it's
was.
looking like he's probably going to miss this week, too.
Yeah. Not good.
Another guy.
Yeah. So that's the story of this game for them. Their running backs combined for 13. Dameon Pierce has a great game in the flex spot, but you're not going to overcome those
Correct.
single digits. That just kills you. Brandon Cooks didn't show up to play, and he had games on the bench. He was probably brokenhearted Thursday night watching Amari Cooper play like Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
And we'll see what the lineups look like.
Yeah, and hey, I'll give the Soaring Eagles a bit of hope here, even though they just constantly have shit on me for this entire season, like half the league. But it was good to see Kyle Pitts starting to get some targets, though. That didn't happen the first 2 weeks, and they started involving him here in the offense. So I think that's a good thing for the Soaring Eagles going forward.
And it didn't hurt Drake London, which was what I was afraid of. So Ant, Ant, who else could eat a Whopper right now? I know I could. And now, oh boy.
If you got that BK app, basically can eat for free. So
Yeah,
That's what they say.
Now I want a Whopper. All right, let's distract.
So before we leave that, though,
Sure.
another team with one quarterback, and you got a guy, 14 points. He did not look great because of that injury on him.
Rib cage, and
Yeah.
it's hard to heal that unless you just
Correct.
shut down. So I don't know. Justin Herbert has certainly been suffering from that. It clearly affected him. That
For
whole
sure.
team seems a little off.
So I don't know if that, for the Soaring Eagles, if that's going to be a problem for them as well, because they're going to be competing against Born to Run for any quarterback that somehow shows up on the waiver wire. With maybe the Whopper Moppers in there for.
See, I would keep Derek
nah,
Carr.
Tom's riding Derek Carr until
you
Dak
think
comes
so?
back.
Derek Carr's going to
Yeah.
throw for
For
4,500
another 2
yards.
more
this
weeks
year.
when Dak comes back, absolutely.
So we could look upon this and say this could be maybe the worst move Born to Run did during the season.
I like Derek Carr
Yep.
this year. I think that offense has potential. They've stuttered a bit, but I still think he's going over 4,000 yards this year.
So yeah, that'll be interesting. If I made all the right moves last year, maybe this year is like take a turn for the worse. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, there were absolutely no shootouts of the week this week.
Not at
These
all.
were just it was a very mellow slate of games and a very calm Monday night for everyone, which I think some people needed. The Monday nights have been
Yes.
pretty stressful.
Yeah,
It's
they
good to
are.
have a kind of a coast into victory every once in a while,
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
especially against the Paladins.
Let's look ahead to week 4. So we have, if you look at the standings, half the league is 1 and 2. So even say, for example, our 0-3 team, Huey Lewis, who again they're always a great story, and I just see some comeback story happening. I said this last week, but they're still only 1 game away from joining the pack, really. So let's look and see how these games are going to affect those standings this week. And Walt, we'll start with you. You've got a tough game going up against a 3-0 team that we just talked about, Whopper Moppers. Concerned?
Well, I mean, it's tough when you're a champ and you got to have the toughest schedule of the season. I mean, week back to back. I'm playing two really good teams,
Yeah.
which is in a way I don't mind because I'm getting them out of the way early,
Sure.
late in the year when maybe I need a win. I won't be playing one of these guys. So, yeah, I mean it's going to be a tough matchup. But again, I think it really is going to come down to Chase and Jefferson. Chase against Miami, I kind of like that matchup. So
It'd be a shootout.
Yeah, so I'm feeling a nice rebound. And, I mean, Jefferson's got to get untracked at some point. So,
You would think so.
right. But, and so we'll see. I mean, I don't like Stafford's matchup against San Francisco,
No.
even though historically he has played well against the 49ers. So, but I don't know what I'm going to do there. And I look at the Moppers, and he's got a lot of cues. I think McCaffrey's probably going to play.
Yeah.
But if he loses Ross St. Brown, that'll be a tough loss. Evans is tough. Jacksonville's their defense is legit. So
And that offense came alive.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, all of a sudden down in Jacksonville.
yeah,
When you have that many first-round draft picks
Well,
early
it's
on, I
true.
mean, it's bound to pay off at some
Exactly.
point, right?
Although they are going to suffer from having let go LaVisca Chenault.
yeah.
Yes.
Can't.
So, but the one I think. So here's my bold prediction. I feel I'm going to win, and it's going to be because of the Cowboys' defense. The Commanders gave up 8 sacks, I think, last week against the.
Parsons going to have 6 alone.
That's what I mean. I think the Cowboys will have like 10 sacks against the Commanders. So the Cowboys D propel me to victory. That's my prediction.
All right. Let's see. Ty, let's talk about your game next
All
week.
right.
You're going up against Huey Lewis in the news. They're hard luck 0-3 after another off week. You're sitting at 2-1, third place in the standings. You just had a tie for the highest score of the week. Do you see any obstacles ahead in Huey Lewis in the news?
Honestly, I'm trying to stay positive this year, and no, I don't. I have a lot of good matchups this week. I mean, CeeDee Lamb's back in the lineup against Washington. I mean, he should feast pretty well on that, with the GOAT Cooper Rush back at quarterback. QB controversy in Dallas. Got, T. Higgins against Miami, not great. Same with Joe Burrow, but they have actually yielded the most points to fantasy quarterbacks this season. And then you got, Barkley against Chicago. And if he ran the way he did against Dallas, I see another high point performance there. So, yeah, liking my matchups, I think it's going to be a victory this week for worst team ever.
All right. Yeah, I hope Barkley. I hope that whole offense comes out angry because, boy, did they look god-awful against Dallas. Oh, God. That was hard to watch. Huey Lewis in the news, probably riding Tom Brady. Or do you make a switch? Jared Goff's been playing some decent football. You need a spark. Huey Lewis is a team that's looking for a spark. Walt, do they make the change?
I think so. I guess in my experience of many, many years, when a guy's about to get divorced, which I think is what's going to happen with Tom Brady, it messes with their head. And Brady don't look right.
No, he does
He
not.
does not. Like, how can a guy get that upset like he did 2 weeks ago? It's because he's pissed off about his wife. He's mad about that. That's a guy that's getting divorced.
He's sleeping in the Mercedes.
Exactly.
His back hurts.
Exactly.
It's cramped in there.
So I think if you look at the line, I mean, it's a pretty big line. You're plus 15, which
That's insane. I don't know that I've seen
haven't
that.
seen that
same
in a
here.
long time.
Yeah.
I think you gotta switch out Brady against KC and switch it up, and you maybe even got to think about Kamara against Minnesota too. Maybe making those switches.
I mean, who does he sub in, though? That's his problem.
Yeah. I'm not feeling great about the news.
If Kamara doesn't come out of whatever's happening,
He's in. Yeah,
he's
it's going
in
to be
a
a
funk.
tough.
Yeah, Mark Ingram looked like he had more spring in his step
exactly.
than Kamara did on
Yeah,
Sunday.
exactly.
Huey Lewis was hitting me up for some trades this week too, and then I kind of shut that down when I found out. Yeah, that's the matchup this week. There's going to be no help coming his way.
He
anytime
would have
soon.
plugged somebody that you gave.
Oh,
up
absolutely,
and,
just to make a point.
the little-
Absolutely.
we'll call that Brandon Ayuk syndrome, where he picked up and started and rampaged. Yes. No, Mr. Positive for worst. team
That's
ever
right.
gets it.
That's
All
what it
all
is now.
That Sox fan 7687's got some insight. I like it. Let's look into a story of two teams that are 1 and 2 coming there in different paths. Sody Pantloads takes on Denver Soaring Eagles. Pantloads are in 5th because of points scored. Denver Soaring Eagles is struggling with points scored, and they're sitting in 9th place. Walt, you mentioned the quarterback issue for the Denver Soaring Eagles. They do have hometown boy Russ Wilson on the roster. Again, is this a QB switch time?
No. Russell Wilson is horrible. I don't think you make that switch.
You don't want to cook with Russ?
Russ is on simmer right now.
He does not have a whole lot of stuff going on in that kitchen right now.
There's no question about it. And so we said we thought we saw the biggest line.
Yeah, I just saw that.
It's 16 on this one.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, now it's early. It's Wednesday.
It's
People
early.
haven't had time to make their moves, but boy.
Yeah.
I think he did make his moves because Amari Cooper's in the lineup.
So that's that line with Cooper in the lineup.
Yeah.
But there's a big Q on Dalvin Cook. But I did hear Dalvin Cook said he's playing.
He said he's going to.
He always does it.
That guy's so
but if he
tough.
has the shoulder, will we see him after halftime?
Yeah.
And how much Alexander Madison? That's a tough decision for Denver Storm Eagles to make. You might get good play out of Alexander Madison if you have the courage to make that switch, or you could get 3 points out of him because he's a strict backup. So.
Hey, Sox fan, 7687. If you've had enough with Dalvin Cook, bring him home, baby. 4 run, we'd love to have him.
That would screw with the no running backs.
Well, that's true. That's okay. I'm willing to give up. I don't need to prove a point.
So another game of 2 1-2 teams. Knuckleheads take on the Springfield Rifle. These teams neck and neck, 6th and 7th in the standings. It's a close game-ish. The line is going to the Springfield Rifle. Waltz, how do you see this game going this week?
This is my favorite game of the week, honestly. A couple of Grizzly veterans out there going against each other. I mean, the line is pretty close, and I really do think it's going to be a really close game.
I think this would be the game of the quarterbacks.
I think it's definitely. I love it. You got Allen and Jackson, 1-2 maybe.
Right.
Playing each other.
Playing each other. So football-wise, it's a great game. BARFF-wise, it's a great game. I really like this. I'm looking forward to it. I think what it comes down to, is Derrick Henry going to put back-to-back good games together? And if he does, but the one thing I don't like is, again, you see Tyler Lockett in there. I don't know. Can you really trust the Seattle wide receiver with Geno?
I don't know what to do. DK is up and down. It's you've got Geno Smith at quarterback. I don't know. There's just nothing more to be said.
Exactly. So it is almost a pick'em game, but you got Cooper Kupp, who I probably should have picked over Justin Jefferson because he's consistent. I'm going to give you the nod. I think you're going to squeak one out.
All right. Ty, what do you think?
Yeah, I think set a close game. I think it's going to be, again, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Whoever outscores there is probably going to come up on top here. I mean, again, you got DK Metcalf versus Tyler Lockett.
Yeah.
So that's another big one.
Yeah.
Usually it's one or the other goes off.
Right.
So I think between that and the quarterbacks, that's what's really going to decide this game. But you know what? We're going to go with Knuckleheads being the great commission.
Oh, wow.
He's coming up. He's 2 wins in a row, baby.
I haven't won 2 games in a row, I think, since 2019. So
Wow.
I'd be really happy to
Starts
do that.
now.
Yeah, we'll see. I know that if I'm the Rifle, I'm just looking at my team thinking Lamar Jackson and Cooper Kupp and no one else. So we'll see. I need other players in my lineup to do more than they've been doing. So we'll see if that happens. Let's take a look at the juggernaut this year's so far early in the season. Juggernaut Boston Beans, highest scoring team in the league, 3-0, top of the standings, taking on no lineup needed, who need a little redemption after their off week. Walt, who do you see taking this game?
I hate to say it. I think the Beans keep rolling. I just think, well, Waddle, I don't know what the extent of his injury is. Anybody know what he's on there for?
Anything today.
So, I mean, that would hurt to not have Waddle in there. But I just look, how can he not go? How are you going to go against Jalen Hurts right now?
Right.
I mean, he's rolling. And Mahomes against Tampa, rough matchup. Really rough matchup. And then, Austin Eckler, again, in the column of running backs that are just not really performing
that
at where they
whole
were
offense,
picked.
that
Exactly.
whole offense is just struggling.
But he plugged in James Robinson, who,
smart.
It looks, so I like what Christian did.
Yeah.
He put the hot guys in, Marquise Brown, Robinson, Tyreek Hill against Cincinnati. I would think he's going to do something.
Yep. He's talking trash with Eric Apple.
Yeah.
Was that kid? Who's that? Apple? Eric? Whichever the kid that the Giants drafted at number 10. Never should have.
Eli
Apple.
Apple.
Yeah.
Apple. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're talking trash back and forth. He
And
should
that's
be
what-
fired.
That means Tyreek Hill's going to go off for about 50 points.
I think.
Yeah.
Eli Apple can't cover anything or anyone.
He's not. He's just not good.
No, he's
So,
not.
Yeah.
But the Beans too, I like at first I thought tight end wise, but Higbee now is looked like a major part of the audience offense. So I'm giving it to the Beans. I think this will be another close game, though. I think I like what no lineup did, so I don't think it'll be an easy win. But the Mahomes matchup, I think ultimately is going to hurt them. So yeah, I'll stick with the Beans.
Ty?
Upset alert. It's going to be no lineup needed coming up to knock off the Beans this week. It's going to be a dud from them. Tyreek Hill's going to get a little, vengeance here against the Beans.
Little 46 points.
Exactly, because you know what? Tua's not in that lineup. If Tua's in the lineup, he wins because he just throws bombs to Tyreek Hill. But now he can't make up that point differential. Christian's coming out on top here.
All right, that's bold prediction. I love both of these teams. I was talking a lot about no lineup needed early on, and so I'll root for them here. But I think this is going to be a good game from both teams.
Well, I gotta say, I gotta disagree, worst team member with Tua, because I don't think he'll be able to tell the different colored jerseys right now, because the guy should have been in concussion protocol. So I don't know. I don't know how that guy. He shouldn't even be driving his car.
No, I hope he's not driving. I hope he's
Exactly.
not. No. Once his eyes get uncrossed,
Yeah.
then that'll be different. But yep. Sox fan 7687 weighs in on Russ. Russ cooks buttered noodles. Poor Russ. That's a tough situation in Denver. What a good team that just needs to get figured out.
And like you said, maybe middle of season, whatever. They're gonna figure it out, I guess. But when a head NFL coach has to hire a guy to help him manage, that's a little concerning.
I know. If I'm the owner that just made that decision to hire this guy and give him a bunch of money, I'd be like, wait, what? You're spending more money on some guy to tell you what to do? Why didn't I hire that guy?
Well, exactly. Like, are you going to pay his salary from your salary?
Right.
That's insane to me. But I agree. They'll probably get it straightened out.
I would think so.
At some point.
So let's take a look at the standings before we close out the show for the week. We've got haves and have-nots for sure. Huey Lewis in the News is in that purgatory. Now, they are having off weeks scoring-wise. They are lowest in the league in scoring at 301 points. Lowest by, it looks like, 18 points, which isn't much, but they're 149 points behind the Beans. But they've given up 408 points in 3 weeks. So you can look at whatever's going on during this 3-game losing streak, but really, that offense for Huey Lewis could have been on track, and they might still be 0-3.
Yeah.
Well, I think you can speak to that, right? If you get into that streak of no matter what happens, and 408. That's pretty outrageous.
That's a crushing amount of points.
They got the other end of the spectrum with the Whopper Moppers, 295 points against.
Yeah.
Pretty easy to be 3-0 on the other side when you don't even have 300 points against.
But he is scoring to his credit. 395. He's second highest anyway.
Yeah.
But that's a nice differential to have.
That's a perfect storm. I'll take that. That's what you want.
Exactly.
Absolutely what you want. So early in the season, Walt, team that you see, let's look 3 weeks from now. Let's look at week 6. Who's changing in these standings as you see it now? Who's making a move?
I think what I'd like to see, of course, and I'm biased, I feel I'm gonna see a resurgence of my receiving core. So I think I'm gonna move up a little. I like, believe it or not, I like the Knuckleheads moving up. And
can't move much farther down.
But I think the part that concerns me are the 2 guys in the bottom.
Yeah.
Lowest points.
Yeah.
And so, but again, we'll see. One thing I can say after when we get to week 6, this is going to be just as confusing and just as tight as it is now. So that's the one thing.
We always have that log jam.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't see that changing, other than maybe the news could be. They might have to. How early do you go into spoiler mode from experience?
I've been in spoiler mode by week 4 or 5.
Okay, so we'll see if they're into that
yeah.
at that position.
Yeah, I don't even remember when I picked up a win last year. It was a long.
It was late.
It was late.
It was
It was a
late.
little late.
Yeah, I had my sign up.
You had
case,
AP
and-
over your
yeah,
shoulder
yeah,
there, and
That's
thought
right.
he was going to turn it around. Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at AP to turn around my season last year.
Yeah. You didn't know you were in a world.
He's
of hurt.
boxing now.
And he got
Not well.
beat. Yeah, he got beat with one of the worst punches I've ever seen.
Yes, that was just ugly. Ty, a team that makes a move.
I mean, I think Born to Run was a bit of a cop-out picking himself there, but I'm going to agree with him on that one. I mean, you have Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson in your lineup. I mean, I can't imagine those two aren't scoring, at least 15, 20 points each the rest of the season there.
Yeah.
So I see them shooting up, and said Knuckleheads as well. They're coming back with a win again. They're going to be right there at the top.
I see Soren Eagles and Huey Lewis both picking up over the next 3 weeks 2 wins. So we'll see. We'll see if that comes to fruition. These teams they're too good and they've got too much in reserve to do not make some sort of move. But we'll see. It's all speculation. So next week we're going to be looking for someone to come into the studio.
I think we've secured Whopper.
We're calling out Tom Bomb. He's coming in
Tom
studio.
Bomb.
He's
Very
co-host.
good.
I
Very
think
good.
we-
He's
Yep.
co-hosting.
I think we
Not
got him
guest,
over
he's
the-
co-host.
We
All
got him
right.
over the hump.
All
Okay.
right.
Yep.
Looking forward to it. So next week's show will be myself and Whopper Moppers. Anyone else that wants to come in, call in, or join us by text is more than welcome. Walt, 3 weeks in.
It's crazy. It's again. The one thing I always say, this is one of the most competitive leagues I'm in, and it looks like it's going to be that way again.
Yeah.
So I love it. It's awesome.
5 teams at 1 and 2.
That's
pretty
right.
insane.
Yep.
That's pretty insane. Ty, after 3 weeks, are we going to see that separation, or are we going to continue, as Walt said, to just be that glut?
It's going to be typical BARFF. You might have 1 or 2 teams
Yep.
up at top that kind of separate a little bit, but there's going to be that log jam from 3 all the way down, to that last playoff spot, just the way it always is with this league.
Yeah, I know about that massive teams because I look up at it every year. I would love to be one of those guys.
You're going to be above that this
Hey,
year, man. Don't worry about it.
we'll see.
You'll be above that.
Tony's gonna have to watch out. The curse of the top team. Huey Lewis went down.
That is-
Yeah.
yeah.
I went down.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that's
That first place after regular season prize money is sour after you lose in the playoffs.
and it puts a lot of pressure on you
Sure
because
does.
you're
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I've done so well over the season, and then just to get knocked out.
Yeah,
I
that hurts.
trust me, it's bitter. It hurts.
Yeah, it certainly hurts.
When you want to disinherit your own son because of it,
Well, there's many reasons for that, but
Well, yeah, that's true.
Oh no, that's the whistle. I was hoping to do one of these. There.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh God, now I can't turn it off. There we go. Sound effects. All right, so that's our show for the week. Walt, great show.
Yeah, that
3
was
weeks
great.
in, 4 podcasts in. Ty, thanks for coming
Yeah,
by.
of
As long as
course.
you're local, keep coming
I
in.
will. Will do.
And enjoy your vacations next week, gentlemen.
We will. Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks for everyone that joined in. Thanks, Sox fan 7687 and Ant for joining us on the chat. And we'll see everyone next week. Good luck to all. Thanks.
All right. Good luck,
Take
everyone.
care.
Bye.